Bill, over to you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of emotion obviously involved with the police, both here in Philadelphia, but across the country. And earlier this month, after a scathing report was released by the Department of Justice, there was renewed focus on the police department in Ferguson, Missouri. Questions remain surrounding the shooting death of 18-year-old Michael Brown, but also now into what the DOJ called African Americans receiving disparate treatment in nearly every aspect of Ferguson's law enforcement system. As protesters gathered Thursday night, 2 Ferguson officers were shot, and social media had an immediate response. One of them said, "Gee, I wonder if it's okay with Obama and Holder if the 2 shot cops are extra cautious around blacks who are suspects, or will they be fired for profiling?" And then there's this comment: "There are people in Ferguson that can identify the shooter. We'll see what type of people live in Ferguson now. If they don't give up the shooter, they don't deserve a police department." So joining us here as we continue on with this discussion, we've got Solomon Jones from 900 AM WURD. Going to discuss and debate this a little bit. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm good, but you know, you saw the comments, and one of the concerns, and I heard you expressing it on your radio show, is that progress that was being made may now be stopped as this happens with the officers. What's your take on that?
You know, the funny thing is that there was progress being made. You saw that a court clerk and 2 police officers were forced out for racist emails. The attitude, I think, that surrounded what you saw as systemic discrimination. Only 67% of the people there are African American, but 88% of the use of force, 95% of jaywalking. They had a system, they had a racket set up around fines, around police stops, and they had collusion with the court system. So you see this progress being made, and then you have an individual who does this thing, individual or individuals who shoot 2 police officers, and it gives the people who don't want people to be treated equally the excuse to say, well, you don't deserve a good police department anyway.
Well, and those people are getting a lot of the coverage. And I know you saw a comment, I saw a comment where someone essentially said, they got one of ours, we now got one of theirs.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to do something to bring this together, how do you silence, or do you silence, idiotic comments that really just inflame this battle?
No, you don't, because you treat those people as what they are. They are individuals. These are people who are acting by themselves. There's no system of, you know, a group of black people saying we're going to drive while black and we're not going to have registration and we're going to do, you know, we're going to break the law. This is individuals versus system. You can plug and play. It's almost like Chip Kelly. You can take different people and put them into Ferguson's system. And again, Ferguson isn't alone. There's 60 police departments out in St. Louis County doing basically the same thing. And so it's not just Ferguson. That's one thing that the mayor said, we're being singled out. But injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so you start with Ferguson and then you root it out nationally.
Now, we hear about the comment from the person who says you got one of ours, now we got one of theirs. But you also have a situation where this DOJ report comes out and you don't have anyone passionately from the police condemning it and stepping up and saying this is in fact a problem. So with the sides so far apart, how do we solve this?
I think that you have to handle what is systemic, and you have to make sure. One of the things that the mayor of Ferguson said, which I found very, very interesting, he's like, oh, Eric Holder's being mean to us. He's saying mean things about us. Well, he needs to say mean things about you because this was a system that was in place for decades. The first thing you have to do is you have to bring in somebody from the outside to make it stop. And so Eric Holder needs to not only say mean things, he needs to do mean things and take the Ferguson Police Department out, whether it's through suing or whether it's through pressure or whether it's through anything else, because these individuals resigning doesn't change the problem. Is that you have a system of discrimination that works no matter who you put in those spots.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot more conversation on this. Solomon, we appreciate you coming in. Hopefully people will start talking to each other and not standing on separate sides of the street yelling at each other.
Absolutely.
Folks, you can always hear Solomon on 900 AM WURD. He is the morning host, and you will see him here with us on Fox 29 Weekend.